Welcome to A Mason's Work, the podcast where we review Masonic symbols and illustrate how they can be used to solve problems in everyday life. With your host, Brian Mattox, a proud member of the Craftsman Online Media Network.
Welcome to A Mason's Work podcast, where today we're slaying dragons. We talked over the course of the week about your shadow, your psychological shadow, where it comes from, a little bit about how to find it and all of that kind of thing. Today, we're going to talk about what do you do when you finally catch it? How do we put this thing to bed? How do we make sure that the shadow no longer drives the bus? And all those mixed metaphors and analogies, that's just for you. So when this happens, when we find that our responses are disproportionate and we begin the process of looking for those places where we're effectively being driven as opposed to being the driver, you're going to notice some stuff. And apart from the discomfort, which is guaranteed, you will note that more often than not, the internal dialogue is framed in a language of blaming. It is her fault. It is, he did this to me. Or the system has failed me. Whatever that language is, that projective language where he did it, or she did it, or they did it, the single greatest technique you have at your disposal is to change those pronouns from he, she, or they to I. I did this to me. I caused this problem. I am the reason this occurred. When we accept that responsibility, we begin to reclaim our agency. This is outrageously uncomfortable work. You're going to look at this and go, but it wasn't me. It was that person. This person did this to me. I didn't do this to me. I get it. Right? I want you to know I understand. I understand the desire to externalize causes. But everything that happens to you is by consent. Even the uncomfortable things. So let's talk about that a little bit. Let's dig into this, because what your natural reaction might be is like, no, I didn't choose to, have this sickness, or I didn't choose to have this negative thing happen to me, or I didn't choose for this to be this way. And that seems like a rational response. And I get it. You certainly did not choose for any of those things to happen. Young children don't choose to get sick. However, your response to those adversities is the cause. I was afraid of the consequences, for example, of telling someone I had lied to them or misled them. So I have refused to accept responsibility for that and suggested that I had to do these things. I had to maybe not tell the truth, or I had to behave in this manner, because if I didn't, ... Now, we're talking about everyone here. We're talking about, in a generic sense, everyone's kind of process that they follow. And in doing that, it's going to seem like it doesn't apply to you. Because again, your shadow really wants to stay in the shadow. So when you find that you are having a difficult time chasing that, you keep pushing the causation out to the rest of the world or out to other people or what have you, that's where the real work begins. And so how can you do that? How can we get that externalized causation back inside, kind of where it belongs? If the pronoun shift is too abrupt, it's too difficult for you to do, you might start by instead imagining you having a compassion-filled conversation with that person. Start with, I know why you do this. And here's how I feel. That dialoguing process with the imagined version of your adversary is the beginning of re-internalizing and changing the conversation from he did this to we did this to I did this. And in doing that, you get to re-internalize and reclaim agency from the external world that you've projected it onto. We'll talk a little bit more about this tomorrow. But for now, think about someone you know or something that happened where this external force became essentially the enemy. Think about the things you don't like or you hate, even if you have that in you in some way. And that's one of the richest places that you can go to start slaying the dragons internally in your life.
The views represented in this podcast are those of the speaker alone and are not representative of any grand or subordinate lodge.
Hi, Brian here. I wanted to thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you have any suggestions or guidance for further episodes you'd like to see or hear, whatever the case may be, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at amasonswork.com, and we will try and incorporate your suggestions into a future recording. Thanks.
Freemasonry teaches us that the true work is within, a lifelong journey of reflection, discipline, and discovery. At A Mason's Work, we help Masons bring out their best selves through meaningful self-inquiry and symbolic practice. From personal reflection to lodge engagement, we offer tools that turn symbols into action. Visit us at amasonswork.com. The work is within. The time is now.